Hey, everybody, and welcome back to EL Podcast Zone. We're diving deep today. You ready for this?
Always.
Into the life of Vladimir Putin.
Okay. From
communal Leningrad all the way to leading one of the most, influential countries in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. You're thinking, Russian politics. Is this really going to help my English?
Right.
But stick with me, all right? Learning about these big figures, it's like a full language workout, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to pick up new vocab, you're going to see some seriously complicated sentences, and you're going to get a way better understanding of, everything going on out there.
Well, his story's just amazing, right? It's full of twists and turns and maneuvering and all this historical context.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of it even sounds like straight out of a spy movie.
Right, like a thriller.
Totally.
So if you're ready to kind of up your English game
and
at the same time learn the secrets of Putin, how he got to be so powerful.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
All right, so we got biographies, we got history books.
Yeah. We got political analysis. We even found like an English learning video.
Nice.
It's kind of funny about Putin, but we're looking at his childhood, his time in the KGB.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, how he ended up leading Russia.
And it's his early life, really, that sets up like the whole journey.
Yeah.
He grew up in Leningrad, communal apartment, sharing everything, kitchen, bathroom, you name it, even a telephone with multiple families.
Oh, wow.
Not exactly the, fancy lifestyle you'd picture with a powerful leader.
No, not at all.
Right.
So how resilient is that, right?
Totally.
It's like, picture this. You're in these cramped quarters.
Yeah.
Resources are tight. Everybody's trying to get by, make ends meet. This was Putin's life.
Yeah.
I mean, our sources describe his family as hardworking, for sure.
Right.
But privileged. No.
Really not.
And you think that kind of upbringing, it's got to give you a drive, right?
Absolutely.
Makes you resourceful.
Right.
And there's this story, it really shows this, about how young Putin dealt with bullies.
What happened?
He didn't back down. He decided, I'm going to master judo and sambo.
Whoa.
These are two, intense martial arts.
Yeah, serious stuff.
Now, I know what you're thinking, judo, English, what's the connection?
Right.
But listen, it's all about making these connections, right? So think of it this way. New words you learn, they're tools for your language toolkit, okay? So like the word discipline, right? Perfect for describing Putin's, his dedication to these martial arts.
Absolutely.
And then you can use that word in so many other situations.
Oh, for sure.
A great athlete, hardworking student, even your own commitment to learning English. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that.
And that discipline.
Oh, yeah.
Is in everything Putin did.
It seems like it.
Like even at Leningrad State University, he studied law there.
Okay.
Known for being focused, determined.
Not like the party animal then.
No, not really.
Okay.
He wasn't the most social, but he aced his studies.
Really?
Became fluent in German too.
Wow.
And this might seem random, but learning German, that was strategic,
Especially back then.
Especially back then, Cold War era.
Yeah.
Fluency in German.
Yeah.
That's a huge plus if you're thinking about the KGB.
Makes sense.
The Soviet intelligence agency.
Right.
And speaking of the KGB, this is where his spy fascination really took off, Getting into the KGB, that was tough. Incredibly rigorous.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for someone from his background.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine that competition?
Intense.
It's tougher than getting into an Ivy League school.
Wow.
But even higher stakes, right?
Yeah.
That says a lot about his ambition, his intelligence, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But even back in university, there were these whispers about questionable tactics.
Like what?
Allegations of plagiarism in his economics dissertation.
Interesting.
Now, we can't confirm that for sure, but it does make you wonder about how he gets things done.
Yeah, how he achieves those goals.
It's like foreshadowing, almost, of his political maneuvering later on.
Makes sense.
And speaking of his political career, we can't talk about Putin without talking about the Soviet Union collapsing, right?
Yeah, of course.
That event changed everything.
For everyone.
For everyone. For him, for the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pivotal for Putin.
How so?
Personally and professionally, imagine, the world, everything you believe in, it just crumbles.
Gone. Yeah.
That had to have a huge impact on how he sees the world, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And this is where things get really interesting for those of you following along in English.
Okay.
That word worldview, it's a big one.
It is.
It's about your beliefs, your values, how you understand everything, right?
Yeah.
To understand Putin's actions, his decisions as a leader.
You got to get his worldview.
You gotta get it.
That's the key.
It's the key. And as we go deeper into his political rise, you'll see how this worldview shaped everything.
How he led, how he dealt with the West.
Exactly.
This is getting good.
It is.
I'm hooked.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we're back, diving deeper into Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
His life, his career.
Uh-huh.
And last time, we were talking about, remember,
Yeah.
the Soviet Union collapsing.
Huge turning point
Yeah.
for him, for the world.
Exactly, and how that shaped how he sees things, his whole worldview.
Right, right.
And that really kind of set the stage for him getting into politics.
It's like the Soviet Union collapses.
Yeah.
It's this void.
Uh-huh.
And Putin, with his KGB background, his desire for like a strong Russia,
Yeah.
he's ready to step in.
He's ready.
So first step, he becomes an aide to Anatoly Sobchak,
Sobchak, yeah.
mayor of St. Petersburg.
Big role.
Big role. And Sobchak, he kind of becomes this mentor, you know,
Like a guide.
a guide through the, let's be honest, sometimes treacherous world of Russian politics.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an apprenticeship.
Okay.
He's learning the art of the deal, how to navigate power, build alliances, all that.
Putin's learning the ropes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, Sobchak, he hits a roadblock.
What happened?
Corruption allegations.
Oh.
Loses his re-election bid.
Tough break.
And what's amazing is Putin comes out of this whole thing, like totally unscathed.
How'd he manage that?
Shows his political instincts, right?
Yeah.
Knowing how to distance himself from controversy.
Sure.
Kept those important connections. Didn't get caught in the crossfire.
Stayed clean.
And for our English learners, that phrase, caught in the crossfire.
Okay. Yeah,
That's a good one.
it is.
Means you're stuck in the middle of a fight, a conflict.
Right. Right.
You can use it for anything, like a friend arguing with another friend,
Yeah.
a company stuck in a trade war, you name it.
I like that. Caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So Putin, he keeps rising, eventually becomes head of the FSB,
The FSB.
the successor to the KGB. Big promotion, especially considering he wasn't like super high up in the old KGB.
So he's playing the game well.
He understands power. He's in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time. Yeah.
And then, this is a big one, Boris Yeltsin, the president then,
Yeltsin, eh?
appoints Putin as prime minister.
Whoa.
This was no accident.
What do you mean?
Yeltsin had his own problem.
Portion stuff, right?
Corruption, the economy was tanking.
Yeah.
He needed someone to bring stability, to protect his legacy.
I see. So Putin was the guy.
Think of it like chess.
Okay.
Yeltsin's in checkmate. He needs a move to save himself.
And Putin's that move.
Putin's the loyal knight,
Makes sense.
and this appointment, it puts Putin in the spotlight.
Front and center.
Out of nowhere, he's the top guy in Russian politics.
Yeah, what a rise.
And then, plot twist.
What?
Yeltsin resigns.
No way.
Putin becomes acting president.
Just like that.
Timing was key here.
I bet.
Putin steps in, steady hand, national
Yeah,
crisis.
people needed that.
People needed that. They wanted a strong leader.
Makes sense.
And Putin, he delivers.
So what's he do?
Consolidates power, changes the government, brings in his people,
All the moves.
sets the stage for his own presidency.
Wow.
He's all about control, decisiveness, strength.
The image of strength.
Exactly. After all the chaos and instability, people were ready for that.
I can see that.
His leadership style, it's described as unemotional, unflappable.
Unflappable.
Like nothing rattles him.
Wow.
Like a chess grandmaster, always thinking 5 steps
It's
ahead.
intense.
Total contrast to Yeltsin, who is kind of all over the
Yeah,
place.
it's unpredictable.
And you know, that word unflappable
Yeah.
sounds good, right?
Yeah, cool under pressure.
But it can also mean like no empathy,
Oh.
like cold, hard to connect with.
I see.
So it's complicated, right? Different leadership styles, how they come across.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of how things come across, Putin, he's amazing at shaping his image.
What do you mean?
Our sources talk about this Kremlin special props department.
Well, like a stage crew.
Exactly. They're orchestrating his appearances, making him look even more, Putin.
Uh-huh. I gotta hear about this.
So there's photos of him riding a Harley with bikers,
Shit.
shirtless, fishing.
Classic.
Even a story about him, like, discovering ancient Greek urns while scuba diving.
No way. Come on.
It's all about controlling the narrative.
Oh, yeah.
Strong, vital, mysterious.
The whole package.
And it works. It makes him super popular in Russia.
So smart.
And then there's the misinformation.
Okay.
The contradictory statements, all that mystery, it keeps people guessing.
He's playing mind games.
Right.
Yeah.
One source describes him as having A lowered sense of danger.
Lowered sense of danger.
What does that even mean, right?
I don't know. Is he fearless? Reckless?
Or just a master manipulator?
Good question.
It's all part of the strategy.
Okay.
Unpredictable, you never know what he's going to do next.
Can't read him.
Exactly.
It's everyone on their toes.
Now, let's talk about Putin and the West.
Big topic.
At first, a lot of Western leaders, they liked him.
Really?
George W. Bush, he even said he looked into Putin's soul, found him trustworthy.
Wow.
And Putin used that to his advantage.
How so?
Presented himself as a reliable partner, especially after 9/11, in the fight against terrorism.
I remember that.
First foreign leader to call Bush after the attacks.
He was there.
Offered help, even though he was against the Iraq War.
Interesting.
Real politic, you know.
A lot.
It's when national interests, they trump ideology.
Practicality over everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
it didn't last.
What happened?
Putin's actions, his policies,
Yeah.
they started making the West nervous.
Like what?
Tensions over NATO expanding, human rights, his control over Russia,
Things were getting tense.
and then those never-ending allegations of corruption
Oh, yeah. This.
about him, his inner circle.
But never proven, right?
Lots of investigations, reports, but no hard evidence.
Just adds to the mystery.
Exactly. In geopolitics, sometimes perception is everything.
True, that.
And Putin, he's a master of perception.
Both inside Russia and out.
Exactly.
Smart.
And you see this mastery when he becomes president again?
After being prime minister.
Yeah, during Medvedev's presidency.
Medvedev. Right?
Everybody knew Putin was still calling the shots.
Even as prime minister.
Shows his long-term thinking.
He's playing the long game.
He wasn't happy just being the power behind the throne.
He wanted it all.
He wanted to shape Russia's destiny,
His vision.
his vision.
Wow, so he gets back to the top spot.
He does.
But it wasn't easy, was it?
Not exactly. What happened?
Well, we'll get into all that next time.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. Final chapter of our Putin deep dive.
The final chapter.
From Leningrad to the KGB, his rise, the whole dance with the West.
The whole story.
We left off with him back in the big chair in 2012, president again.
Back on top. But not everyone was thrilled.
And everyone.
There were protests all over Russia.
Protests? What about
People were worried. Corruption, his grip on power.
tightening his grip?
Exactly, this opposition movement, they started getting louder.
Interesting.
One guy who really stood out, Alexei Navalny,
Navalny.
anti-corruption activist, fearless, called out Putin directly.
That's brave.
He even tried to run for president,
Whoa.
but they blocked him, wouldn't let him on the ballot,
Wow.
and later threw him in jail.
On what charges?
Oh, the usual, stuff most people saw as politically motivated.
So speaking out against Putin, it's dangerous.
It can be.
Navalny's story, it's a reminder, challenging power, there's a price.
There is.
Yeah.
And for you English learners, this is a good time to practice comparatives and superlatives.
Okay.
Like Navalny, he was more vocal than a lot of critics.
Right.
Putin's grip on power, it got tighter.
I see more. Tighter.
Exactly. Those little grammar tools, they help you say exactly what you mean.
Make those subtle distinctions.
Subtle, but important, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, 2014, the world's focus shifts to Crimea,
Crimea. Okay.
peninsula in Ukraine, but with ties to Russia,
Historically. Yeah.
home to Russia's Black Sea Fleet.
Strategically important.
And Putin, he makes a move, bold one.
What do you do?
Annexes Crimea, makes it part of Russia.
Wow, just like that.
The world was shocked.
I bet.
Western nations condemned it, violation of international law.
Redrawing borders by force sets a dangerous precedent.
They hit Russia with sanctions.
Did it work?
Putin didn't flinch.
He didn't care.
He said it was about protecting ethnic Russians living in Crimea,
Protecting their interests.
their security.
So that was the justification.
But that was it, the turning point with the West.
Things went downhill from there.
Mistrust, tensions, it all escalated.
Makes sense.
But this also shows how Putin thinks strategically.
Explain that.
He's willing to use force, military force, to get what he wants.
Hard
Power, and he wanted to reassert Russia's influence, especially in those areas with, historical and cultural connections to Russia.
You're abroad, they call it.
Exactly.
So Crimea was part of that strategy.
Absolutely.
Smart but risky.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah, that's Putin.
And he's also a master of propaganda information warfare.
What do you mean?
Inside Russia, Crimea. That was a victory, a return to their land,
Boosting his popularity.
solidifying his image as a strong leader.
Makes sense.
But he didn't stop there.
He took it international.
He used media, online platforms to spread his message, his narrative,
Controlling the information.
and sowing discord among Western countries.
Divide and conquer.
Exactly.
Wow.
This is a key concept for our English learners. Hard power versus soft power.
Okay, yeah.
Hard power, that's military, economic might.
The sting.
Soft power, that's culture, diplomacy, information to influence people.
The carrot.
And Putin. He gets both.
He knows how to use both.
He uses them strategically to get what he wants for Russia. It shows how powerful language can be.
Words matter.
They do. They shape how we see things. They influence what happens.
And Putin gets that.
He gets it.
He's used it to his advantage.
Over and over.
Wow.
And then, 2022,
Here we go.
the world changes. The invasion of Ukraine.
Full-scale invasion.
A moment that, I don't know, it changed everything.
Changed everything.
Years of tension, historical baggage, Putin's determination to keep Ukraine out of the West's orbit.
He didn't want them joining NATO.
Exactly. And it all led to this.
Devastating.
A reminder of what happens when ambition goes unchecked.
And how fragile peace really is.
The world condemned it. Sanctions like never before.
And the humanitarian crisis.
Millions suffering.
It's heartbreaking.
Bombed cities, refugees fleeing, Ukrainians fighting back. We all saw it.
Yeah, we did.
It reshaped global alliances.
Yeah.
Brought back Cold War fears.
And the future. Who knows?
So where does this leave Putin's legacy?
Complicated, right?
Very. Some saw him as shrewd, calculated.
But the master strategist.
But now, many see him as ruthless, an aggressor.
He broke the rules, started a war.
A war that's still going on.
It's hard to know how it'll end.
It is. Putin's a complex figure full of contradictions.
Yeah, he is.
He knows how to use power. He's reshaped Russia's place in the world.
He's made Russia a major player again.
But he's also sown division, silenced opposition, unleashed a brutal war.
A dark side to the story.
His legacy. It'll be debated for years, but one thing's for sure, he's changed the course of history.
No doubt about that.
And for all of you listening, I hope this deep dive has been helpful for your English.
It's been great.
Engaging with these big topics, that's how you level up.
Learn new words, understand better, express yourself.
Exactly.
It's all connected.
Don't be afraid to challenge yourself, explore new ideas.
The world is full of amazing stories.
And knowing English, that unlocks it all.
It's the key.
So that's it for this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, push those boundaries.
It's growing.
And if you're looking for more deep dives like this, be sure to subscribe to EL Podcast Zone.
We'll help you improve your English, one episode at a time.
Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.